tora, as in around, and dial. So the toroidal field is around us completely, like a donut field. And I'm always playing with words. And if you look at the toroidal, it's like round dial. And by getting in touch with our own toroidal field, we can dial in what we want to experience in the world and dial out what we don't. So, to go on, God was said to have also communicated with Moses from between the two cherubim on the ark's cover. And the cool thing about that is the pituitary and pineal gland are what are in between those two cherubim, or the wings within your head. So again, it tells you right there that that's how we communicate with God, through our pineal pituitary gland. So where is the Ark of the Covenant? And I've already told you, it's in your head. So this is from 1 Kings 6:27, and it basically describes, I'm not going to read all this here, you can read it on your own. Basically it describes how the Ark of the Covenant was to be built. There is these two cherubim on top of a golden case, and they covered it in gold, and they faced each other, and it's very specific about how the angels fit on there. For example, it said, and their wings touched one another in the midst of the house. So they have the cherubim are on top of the ark. Two of their wings touch in the center, and then the other two wings touch the outer walls. And if you go by the different directions or the measurements related to how big the room was almost 30 feet wide, which means that Ark of the Covenant had to be that wide if it touched the outside wall. So did they make a mistake on the measurement, or were they trying to hide the truth of what the Ark of the Covenant really was? And so let's scroll on down and I'll show you. The real Ark of the Covenant is the sphenoid bone in your skull. This is actually a picture of the sphenoid bone. And look what the landmarks they call this. Look at these two little wings here. They call them lesser wings. That's amazing to me, because there's supposed to be wings atop the Ark of the Covenant. And then you have the greater wings on the outside. So, from a perspective, these greater wings actually touch the outside wall of your skull, and then the inside wings touch each other. This is actually scriptural. It says that. So here we have the outside wings touching the walls of the skull, and the inside wings touch each other. That's very awesome, because there's another confirmation that we're on the right track. And it also says that the cherubim were made of one piece, and this bone is one piece. Notice here with this picture of the owl, when I was playing with this, I heard that the sphenoid was called or nicknamed the butterfly bone. But when I was looking at it, I was like, that totally looks like an owl. It looks, you have the eyes, you have the beak coming down, and you have the horn. So a horned owl, to me, that's totally a horned owl, even with its wings outstretched and it's got its talons. So just to read from here to make sure I don't miss anything. Notice that it has wings. The greater wing that spread out and touch the walls of the skull, and the lesser wings that touch in the middle. It also looks an awful lot like an owl, which is the symbol that secret societies like to use. And there's no accident. They know this truth, and it's been hidden from us. You know, everybody was talking about the secret about law of attraction. Well, there's actually deeper secrets we need to know. The law of attraction cannot be actualized until you know the deeper secrets of how things work. And that's what I'm sharing with you now. The secret's only going to get you so far unless you know how to utilize it. And how to utilize it is by using the Ark of the Covenant and all the structures associated with it, rising out of your reptilian devil mind and into the higher part. They are actually stating that they got you by the third eye. So when they use this symbol, and secret societies use the secret symbol of the owl, they're kind of in your face saying, you know, we control you. We control your thoughts, the chemicals that are released in your body, everything. And most people don't know that because it's just not known. And then what's really interesting is a lot of movies and things related to owls have been coming out this year. I forget the name of that movie, but it was 3D. It was all about the owls, and the leader owl had this helmet on, and there was a female bad owl, and all the owls were on thrones, or the bad people were. So again, it's showing an owl on a throne, and I don't think that's by accident. So when they're controlling your Ark of the Covenant, which is actually your third eye, which rests in there, you cannot see the truth. You're being deceived, and through deception, your hormones and the chemicals that control your body are manipulated, plain and simple. So the sphenoid, you can see here just where it rests, it's associated with the eyes, the smell senses, also the sinuses related to the teeth where they come down. And it shows here the greater wings of the sphenoid. See how it touches the walls of the skull? That's just right on. That's too accurate to me. And here is how they describe the door entrance to the Ark of the Covenant. A double door made of olive wood was set in a place at the entrance of the Holy of Holies. The Holy of Holies is what housed the Ark of the Covenant. The top of the doorway was a pointed arch. Well, look at this. This is the bony structure related to your nose. The nose has two openings in it, and it comes to a point. That's no accident, because right here you go through that, and you're right there at the Ark. So now I'm going to play a little video that's going to show you a little bit more about the landmarks of the sphenoid.
The human skull is made up of 8 cranial bones that surround and protect the brain, and 14 facial bones that form the underlying structure of the face and support for the teeth. With the exception of the mandible, the bones of the skull articulate with each other through joints known as sutures. Throughout the skull, holes known as foramina serve as passageways for blood vessels and nerves. Bones on the surface of the skull encase the brain, protect sensory organs, and serve as attachment sites for the muscles of the head and neck. These bones include the occipital bone, parietal bones, temporal bones, and the frontal bone, as well as the nasal bones, the zygomatic bones, the maxilla, and the mandible. Other bones become more visible only when looking inside the skull.
So you can see right here what a very important, or how the sphenoid fits in a very important part of the skull. It's in the very center. So you take away all the bones, and here you have this owl-looking shape sitting right there looking at you.
Sphenoid bone makes up the anterior base of the cranium. It is a butterfly-shaped bone with a central body and 2 pair of laterally projecting wings. These wings form portions of the orbit.
So I'll pause this here so you can see. From the side, the pituitary gland rests right inside of here, and this bone is almost square in the back, which would be what the Ark of the Covenant would be. The bottom part of the Ark is always shown as being like a box, right? Well, the bone even looks like a box from the top view. And the pituitary sits, boom, right inside the box where the 2 winged creatures are. That's it. That is the Ark of the Covenant. The outside external, there might have been an outside external representation made, but it was made to represent what's inside of us. And we've lost the truth of that. And now it's time to reclaim it.
The body of the sphenoid features a depression known as the sella turcica, which houses the pituitary gland.